News Services Division of Akashvani presents Northeast Diary.
Good evening and wishing our listeners a very, very happy new year. Welcome to another episode of Northeast Diary, your window into the vibrant cultures, inspiring stories and unfolding events from the eight jewels of India's Northeast. I'm Vinita Thakur, and in today's program, we embark on a spiritual journey through the temples of Tripura. We'll also bring you a fascinating folk tale from Nagaland, the story of the stone gold, or Waiting Yong. In addition, we explore the historic ruins of Pandam Budang Gadi in Sikkim and take a vicarious walk through the Mawphlong Sacred Forest, one of Meghalaya's revered sacred groves. But first, let's head to Agartala, where the winter chill hasn't dampened the spirits of the literary world. While mainstream literature often dominates the shelves, a quiet revolution of bold words and rebellious styles has been taking shape at the Ravindra Bhavan premises. Today we bring you highlights from the 10th Northeast Little Magazine Conference, where voices from the margins take center stage. Our Agartala correspondent Suman Bhattacharjee brings us this report.
For decades, through the 70s, 80s and 90s, little magazines have been the heartbeat of Bengali literature. They exist to challenge the status quo, offering a home to radical thoughts and experimental styles that mainstream publishers often overlook. Despite the digital age and countless hurdles, this tradition is not just surviving, it is thriving. From December 26th to 29th, ignoring the biting cold of the year's final week, over 125 editors, writers and publishers gathered in the heart of Tripura. But this year, the flavor was different. It wasn't just about Bengali. The stalls were adorned with the vibrant linguistic diversity of the Northeast, featuring works in Kokborok, Manipuri, Chakma, and several other minority languages.
This is the 10th edition of Northeastern Little Magazine Conference being held at Agartala from 26th of December. So herein we have got 125 entries throughout the Northeastern states like Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Silchar and some other places, and most of them are from Tripura. This is the 10th of its kind. It was started in the year 2005 at Shillong. This is the 10th year, and we have got overwhelming response from the authors, illustrators, editors of Little Magazine, and those who love book, love Little Magazine, they have also participated, and it's a huge extravaganza. And this year the main thing is that it is not only bound with the Bengali Little Mag, it is for all language of Northeast.
The four-day event was a tapestry of intellectual exchange between the buying, selling, gifting of rare editions. There were deep discussions on the future of minority languages and the raw power of the Little Magazine movement. Writers, men and women alike, sat side by side, reading poems and short stories that spoke of their land, their struggles and their dreams. As the sun sets over Ravindra Bhavan, one thing is clear: as long as there is a thought too bold for the mainstream, there will always be a Little Magazine to give it a voice. For Northeast Diary, Suman Bhattacharjee, Akashvani, Agartala.
Now we take you to the land of festivals, Nagaland, with a captivating folk tale rooted in its rich tribal heritage. Nagaland's tribal culture is a vibrant blend of traditional beliefs, customs and practices shaped by its many indigenous communities. Our journey leads us to Longlang district, where we hear the legend of the stone god, Waiting Yong. According to legend, during the late 17th and early 18th centuries, a large group of invaders known as the Fama advanced from the eastern side to attack Tanga village, a small settlement in present-day Longlang district. The western gate of the village, where the enemies attempted to force their way, it was guarded by three massive adjoining stones known as Yongsha Yongyu. Asuno, our Kohima correspondent, shares more information about this fascinating legend.
In an attempt to ward off the intruding enemies, a warrior by the name of Konglung threw his spears through a hole in the village main wooden gate, which pierced through a badly injured armed warriors who was at the front gate while they were trying to break open the village gate and fencing. As the injured enemy cried out in excruciating pain, the invading enemies panicked, and when the enemies were about to retreat, the three huge stones called Yongsha Yongnyo, stationed beside the village fencing, started to move downwards by themselves and made earth-shaking humming sound by colliding against each other, which startled the enemies, and as a result they ran helter-skelter for their lives. In the process of their scurried running in all directions, many of them were injured by their own weapons, while some fell into deep rocky gorge below the village gate and died. The enemies all ran to the directions of Manching Kanshong, Shishil Lamchong and Pongching Shong, the name of which are still used by the people today. Warriors of Tanga village chased the enemies and killed many of them. Killings continued till the next day on those who were in hiding, who were weak, injured and left behind. A kingpin of the enemies was among those killed, whose heart was taken away from the place where he was killed and placed it in the V-shaped roots of the fruit tree and covered by a stone slab. Both the stone slab and the fruit trees still stand today as a living witness, and the particular spot came to be called the heart of Akanman. The historic triumph of the day over the large armed enemies was in fact achieved by the divine intervention in the form of unnatural and frightening humming sounds of the three stones which chased away the invading enemies. Since then, those particular stones are called stone god or Ve Ting Yong in local dialect, meaning the stone that chase away the enemies. Even today, village folks on their way to the fields or on huntings and fishing trips seek success and guidance by uttering po bu to the stones, and they sharpen their dows or spears on the stones, believing that they are rewarded accordingly. The villagers also invoke good weather by placing leaves on the stones. Thus, till today, the stone is treated with reverence as a protector and savior of Tanga villagers. For Notice Diary with Denland Asunyu for Akashvani News, Kohima.
Sikkim's tourist circuit is dotted with sites of historical and religious significance. Located in the East District, the ruins of Padam Budang Gadi are a relatively recent addition to the state's tourism map, but are quickly gaining popularity among visitors. Our Gangtok correspondent Saikat Sarkar files this report.
Pandam Budang Gadi is a site atop a hill with ruins of a fort at an elevation of around 1900 meters in East Sikkim. There are multiple theories on the legendary ruined walls at Pandam. Some associate the fort with Lepcha legends, while others argue that Sikkim's Chogyal kings built the fort to guard their kingdom from foreign invaders. An ancient Nishani Kali temple on the fort's periphery is of significance among locals and has added to the site's legend. The state government has initiated a redevelopment project for the temple and the site to put it firmly on the tourist map. A resident of Pandam and project committee member Ganesh Chandra Khanal speaks about Pandam Budang Gadi's significance and its tourism potential.
Pandam Gadi, located in East Sikkim, is essentially a fort with masonry walls protecting the area. Just at the one end exists the temple of goddess Nisani Kali Bhavani. The fort has various chambers used for different purposes and spread in an area of around 5 acres, located at an altitude of about 1900 meters on the top of Central Pandam village in East Sikkim. The dry masonry walls is about 250 meters long and erected with height of 8 to 10 meters. A perennial source of water exists coming out from the crack within the rock. It is believed that the generals of King Prithvinarayan Saha of Nepal established the temple when they used the fort during their war. The fort was built by the earlier kings of Namgyal dynasty of Sikkim during 17th century, which was used as fort during various war times and also later by the Nepal army. The goddess Nisani Kali is the guardian deity of the people of the area, and at least 2 annual important religious festivals are performed by the public, the Sansari and the Devi Puja. Conservation of the fort area has been done as of now. Also, there are numerous visitors to the temple as it is believed to be the wish-fulfilling goddess. The area is also famous for bird watching activities, and also the area is having a beautiful scenic situation.
The redevelopment project involves the installation of a 54 feet high copper statue of the goddess along with a temple at the site above central Pandam on around 5 acres of land. Exploration of rich local fauna and promotion of local homestays are also among the state government's plan to highlight the heritage of Pandam. With Dilram Dulal, this is Saikat Sarkar for Northeast Diary from AIR News Sikkim.
Among the many remarkable features of the Khasi Hills in Meghalaya are the sacred groves, forest preserved since ancient times through traditional religious beliefs. The most renowned among them is the Mawphlang Sacred Forest, located about 25 kilometers from the state capital Shillong. Our Shillong correspondent Rustam brings us this report on the sacred groves.
The Mawphlang Sacred Forest, which covers roughly an area of about 192 acres, nestled in the East Khasi Hills district of Meghalaya, has its roots steeped deep in the age-old religious belief in which forests are regarded as a sacred entity. The locals, predominantly the Khasi tribes, have been preserving the forest for thousands of years and believe it to be the resting place of their local deity called Labasa. The forest is guarded by one very strict rule, and that is, no one cannot take anything out of this forest, else the deity gets upset. Any attempt of removing even a tiniest thing from the forest means you are disrespecting the deity. According to folklore, it is believed that the deity takes on the form of a leopard or a tiger and protects the village. To maintain favors or appease the local deity, the villagers make animal sacrifices in the stone temples located within the forest. It isn't just the myth and legends of the forest that attracts tourists. Its physical majesty is also a sight to behold. The entry to the forest is marked by lush green branches, and as you step inside, you will see an interconnected network of trees and plants, some of which are said to be over 1,000 years old. The forest is rimmed by a dense growth of Castanopsis curzi trees, forming a protective hedge which holds intrusion of Pinus cassia, also known as Khasi pine, which dominates all areas outside the sacred groves. Inside the outer rim, the sacred groves are virtually nature's own museum. The heavily covered ground have a thick cushion of humus accumulated over the centuries. The trees in the forest are heavily loaded with epiphytic growth of aroids, pipers, ferns, ferns allies, and orchids. It is an amazing visual spectacle, plus there is a widespread belief that some of these plants possess medicinal properties, including the ability to cure tuberculosis and cancer. Powell Mawphlang, a resident of Mawphlang village, shared his belief about the sacred grove.
Mawphlang Sacred Grove has been there for centuries, since time immemorial. This sacred grove is being preserved and respected by not only locals but by the Khasi community. In this sacred grove, all types of trees and plantations one will find if you visit there. People cannot take out anything from this sacred grove when they visit, and they have to respect the custom and practices that the Khasi people, especially the clans that are part and parcel of preserving this sacred grove. Lingdok Mawphlang clan, they used to pay tribute and respect whenever they visit this sacred grove.
Locals often flock to this sacred forest to celebrate nature and other festivals. This sprawling forest comes alive especially during the 3-day Monolith Festival, held here to showcase the tribal heritage and culture. This is Rustam for Northeast Diary for AIR News, Shillong.
Tripura is known for its numerous Hindu and Buddhist temples, offering visitors a deeply peaceful and tranquil experience known for their graceful architecture, intricate sculptures and serene surroundings. The temples of Tripura attract pilgrims and tourists from across the country and abroad. Let's now embark on this spiritual journey through Tripura with our special correspondent Soma Basu.
The princely state of Tripura is considered to be the Gomukh of Northeast. Gomukh, that is an auspicious emblem. Tripura is a political entity as well, with legends tracing its existence to the days of epic Mahabharata. It is also the ancient land of mysterious past. It has ever been a melting pot for tribal and non-tribal cultures, producing an exotic cultural synthesis. Having a romance about itself, Tripura fascinates one with the antiquity of the land and the charm of its picturesque landscape. It has flourished as a repository of ancient religion and sculpture for centuries, and thus claims a prominent place in the tourist map of the country. We begin our pilgrimage from Udaipur, some 55 kilometers away from Agartala, which is the capital of Tripura. It houses the temple of Tripura Sundari, considered to be one of the 51 pithas mentioned in the Hindu Tantras. This Kali temple, popularly known as Mata Bari, crowns the Kalyan Sagar hillock with a wide expanse of water on its east. Consisting of a square-type sanctum, so typical of Bengali huts, the Mata Bari is served by the red-robed priests who traditionally minister to the Mother Goddess. A large fair is held every year during Diwali in October-November. It is known that the temple was first constructed by Maharaja Dhanya Manikya in 1501 AD. It was repaired by Maharaja Rama Manikya in 1681 AD when it was damaged by lightning, and again by Maharaja Radha Kishorpur Manikya in the beginning of the century. According to an inscription note on the monuments in the Tripura state visited by the Director General Archaeology of India in 1952, there are two identical images of Tripura Sundari inside the temple. The one, called Chotima, appears to be the original and measures about 2 feet, while the other is about 5 feet. It is difficult to date the image of Chotima accurately as it is worn out. Moreover, the attributes in her hands are either too much blurred or lost. The inspection note also observes that goddess Tripura Sundari, being the tutelary deity of the Tripura Raj, seems to have been brought by these rulers and may perhaps be dated to the 15th century AD, even on grounds of style. For it has the four-armed goddess standing in Sthanaka pose on the body of Shiva. She wears the Jatamukuta, a Munda Mandala consisting of 13 human skulls. Beyond this age-old temple, there is a big tank called Dhani Sagar, the abode of old tortoises, looking forward to pilgrims for food offerings. It is said, when any of these wise tortoise is to die, it approaches the altar of the temple and breathes its last there. Another Shakta temple worth paying a visit is Kasba Kalibari. Like the Tripura Sundari temple of Udaipur, Kasba Kalibari is also situated on a hillock overlooking a wide pool of water called Kamala Sagar. Here, of course, the order is reverse. That is to say, the tank is older than the temple. An interesting sandstone image of the goddess resembling Dashabhuja Durga or Mahisasur Mardini is erroneously worshipped as a Kali due to the presence of a Shivalinga at its feet. Now this is considered to be a rare evidence in the field of Hindu iconography, and the image is assigned to 15th century AD. Famous not only from the pilgrim's point of view, the Jagannath temple in Agartala is a remarkable architectural feat with its octagonal base and its impressive pradikshina path around the sanctum. The pillars are crowned by a square pyramidal cone arising above a multifoil niche which comes at the level of the terrace. It is indeed a connoisseur's delight. However, the cynosure of all eyes is also the other Jagannath temple at Udaipur. On the southwest bank of the famous Jagannath Dighi in the heart of the Udaipur town, which was once the capital of Tripura, is found the ruins of Jagannath temple, a rare specimen of temple architecture in Tripura. There are two schools of thought regarding the temple here. According to Udaipur Bibaran, Daitya Narayana, the general-in-chief of Maharaja Vijaya Manikya in 1529 to 1560 AD, brought the image of Lord Jagannath from Puri and installed it here. This image was afterwards removed from this temple and kept at Komila. But according to the author of Silalipi Samagraha, the temple was built and dedicated to Vishnu, jointly by Maharaja Govinda Manikya and his younger brother Jagannath Deva in 1661 AD. In a style characteristic of Mohammedan fashion, the Jagannath temple is a typical temple with a vertical portion built of stone and the top crowned with a dome with vaulted roof. Old Agartala is still visited by a good number of pilgrims every year on the occasion of Karchi Puja in July at the temple of Chaturdas Devata, which was built here when the 14 deities were removed from Udaipur. The temple, just 5 miles away from Agartala town, represents a combination of Hindu faith and tribal cults. The images represent only the heads of the gods and goddesses worshipped, who have been identified with Shiva, Durga, Vishnu, Lakshmi, Vani, Samudra, Ganga, Agni, Kamadeva and Himadri. Made of an alloy of 8 metals and regarded as the presiding deities of the royal house, they are attended and worshipped only by the tribal priest of the Tripuris and not the Brahmin Chantais. There is a richly engraved throne in the temple on which normally 3 of the god heads are enshrined, and it is only during the Kharchi Puja that all the 14 gods are brought in the open for worship in public. The oldest ruins of this region are to be found at Unkoti, about 200 kilometers from Agartala. Huge figures of the Hindu deities and epic characters have been found carved on both sides of a meandering hill rack emerging from bushes. An awesomeness fills the atmosphere as one journeys through this grand panorama of picturesque hills at the background and confronts the colossal figures of Hindu pantheon cut out of rocks. The hilly Tirtha Unkoti, which means one less than a crore, is a holy shrine reckoned as one of the most sacred pilgrimages to eastern India. According to the archaeological report, Unkoti is a Saivya pilgrimage at least from the 8th or 9th century. The images on the rocky walls of the hills here are mainly of 2 types, rock-carved figures and stone images. Among the rock-carved figures, the central Shiva head and the enormous Ganesha figure deserve a special mention. Among the other images which leave an indelible impression in the mind for their fine execution are the Chaturmukha and Trimukha lingas, which are worshipped at an elevation of Unkoti hills. The 3 faces of Shiva are carved on the 3 sides of its Rudra Bhaga and the back face is damaged. Yet another image of the linga bears 4 well-carved figures shown up to the waist on the 4 sides of its Puja Bhaga. The 11th or 12th century image of Ekamukha linga is placed on the upward slope of Unkoti hills. The shape of this linga is spherical and the face of Shiva is carved on it. At the top of the hill, images of Vishnu, Panchamukha, Ravana, Narasimha, seated Ganesha, Hanuman, etc. are found. There are many more images which are yet to be identified, but images having stamp of many known and obscure religious cults tend to prove that though initially started as a center of Saivya pilgrimage, other religious sects did not lag behind in the art of rock carving at Unkoti in view of its outstanding religious importance. The South Tripura district has many important places to visit. Radhakishorpur, formerly known as Udaipur, stands on the left bank of river Gumti. The ruins of the old palace of Govinda Manikya Bahadur and the famous Bhubaneswar temple situated there are now surrounded by dense jungles. However, the palace and the temple have been immortalized through Tagore's famous plays Rajorshi and Bishorjun. On the right bank of river Gumti is the Tripureshwari temple. There is a Satipitha, a place where parts of Sati's dismembered body were said to have fallen. A myth goes that right leg of Sati fell there. The Benu Bana Bihar, a Buddhist temple in Agartala, bears testimony to the fact that from the years of yore, Tripura has been extending hospitality and patronage to the religion and culture of its neighbors. The quiet temple and the monastery on a picturesque setting is indeed an embodiment of serenity. Badr Muqam of Udaipur, the temporary abode of Fakir Baba Sahib, a famous Muslim ascetic of Chittagong, on a sojourn in Tripura, is a place holy alike to Hindus and Muslims. The 3 temples constituting the Mahadeva Bari are erected in a well-defined enclosure. The sanctum of the temple is circular from the base, and in that respect, it differs from the temples of the Gunavati group and neighboring shrines of Udaipur. This temple was built in 1672 AD. The hydroelectric power station at Dumbur Lake near Nutan Bazar is also a holy place of visit. 73 miles from Agartala, the source of Gumti is mainly a pilgrimage for both the tribals and the non-tribals who flock the place every year on the occasion of Posh Sankranti in the month of January for a holy dip in the placid water of the Dumbur Lake. The place, unique for its scenic beauty, is also the site for a large fair where the tribal population make annual purchases for their families. The Peak of the Gods, or Deota Mora as it is called, is an extensive range of hills situated in between Udaipur and Amarpur subdivisions. This has become a place of tourist interest owing to a panel of images found carved on the hills facing River Gumti. It is really astonishing to see such a good number of images carved high up on the steep rocky wall of the hill covered with thick jungles. The images are no doubt crude in conception like those at Udaipur, but may not be so antique. So, that was Tripura, the enchanting land of delectable range of temples.
Folks, now enjoy the Nagamis' New Year song, Purana Saal Tu Parkuri Jaise, sung by B.J. Lamkhang and M.B. Aimoy.
Purana Saal Tu Parkuri Jaise, Purana Jivan Di Parkuri Jaise, Nautin Saal Ahise, Nautin Jivan Ahise, Sadi Saman Sopt Nautin Hoyase, Isho
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Northeast Diary. Join us again next week for more stories from this enchanting part of India. Until then, goodbye.
This program was presented and produced by Vinita Thakur with assistance from Kumar Gaurav. It was brought to you by the News Services Division of Akashvani.